Welcome to the Resiliency podcast. I'm your host, Todd Miner, along with my wife.
Mia Minor.
We want to welcome you tonight. We want to discuss why we're here tonight. We we lost our son Matthew in 2019. He was 12 years old, and as a result of his untimely passing due to a viral online challenge, we've created this foundation, and we work very hard to bring awareness to resources and to the harms that exist online. And for us, it's a campaign born by the deepest loss, driven by the love and memory of a young boy who worked so hard to help others. We're going to bring up we wanted to go over a couple updates tonight, and then we'll bring on our special guest. On May 14th, we were very encouraged that Senators Blumenthal and Blackburn reintroduced COSA. We will continue to work on Capitol Hill along with our partners, our legislative partners, to get COSA passed and across the finish line. So thank you, Senators Blumenthal and Blackburn, for championing COSA. Also, I'm just scrolling down here. We were honored and thankful to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as the Parents Network hosted the Lost Screen Memorial in New York City. Here, just wanted to go over a couple pictures. This is Matthew, and I won't narrate every one of them, but Mia, if you see a picture and you want to provide an update, wow, this was very emotional, Mia. I think all the emotions just came flowing through when we saw the Duchess, and then we saw the Duke, Prince Harry, as well. Do you have any comments you want to share for that, Mia, for this picture?
Well, it was a sad time, during that time, because we were there to honor our son, and to being, seeing, I was not really expecting, it was kind of shocked to see them come through, but it was an emotional time, to just be there and just to see my son in the light of, him and how he passed and everything. But it's just been an emotional time since his death, and just him not being here is just so young, and to see such potential just gone at an early age is just a devastating situation to see him gone, and to not have him with us is a sad. It's very sad for me, because
it was definitely sad for me as well, Mia. I think when you lose your child, a part of you is forever removed.
It's removed and taken away.
But I think with our work, that's kind of kept us going. But with this, it was just seeing Matthew's smiling face and the way that they did it. It looked just like a iPhone just standing up right there. I think it was well done, and just really
not a Samsung, but an iPhone. Yeah.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
It does look like an iPhone, but could possibly be a Samsung. Don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it looked like. Well, that's a great observation. It was a cell phone.
It was a nice technology based device.
and I'll kind of keep us going, Mia. And so here's some pictures with the Empire State Building in the background, and another picture of Matthew, kind of as once the sun started setting, you were able to see the they call them light boxes, but you were able to see the light box just a little bit better. Here's some family, other parents that have lost children along with their families. Let's see, that's Lost Green Memorial. This is the location where we were when they had that. The place called the Perch there in Manhattan, New York. This is a picture of the inside of the event, and just gotta thank the Parents Network and the Archwell Foundation. The food was excellent. Thank you very much. It was delicious.
Very nice. Very nice. We'll put together.
And here's some more pictures of the skyline, and another picture of me and I by Matthew's picture. And it was really another thing with this is that when everything was done, we didn't want to leave because it brought back all those emotions, and we felt like we were leaving Matthew. So, I think the main thing is just that we always have Matthew with us as we're doing our work, and just thank all our supporters and everybody that we work with to kind of keep us going, because there are times where we're down. There are those low times, and events like this, and just even the notes that we receive from all from our followers and supporters, that keeps us going. So we want to say thank you so much for that. So now, with that, we're going to introduce tonight's guest. We want to welcome Allie and Rene with DHS's Know to Protect campaign, which raises awareness of online exploitation and abuse. I'm now going to bring them in. Hi, Rene and Allie.
Hey, how are you guys?
Well,
hi.
Well, I'm gonna bring your slide deck up, if that's okay as well.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, what a touching event that took place in New York City. That's pretty amazing that you guys were able to be there and be honored that way, and that your son is being honored and remembered. It's absolutely fabulous.
Thank you so much. And I just even thinking about it, I had a little bit of a pause at the very beginning, but a lot of times when we get things started, the emotion is just under the surface. So sometimes it's, I have to kind of calm myself, or just balance myself as we're getting ready to do any of our work, because it can't really explain what it's like to lose a child, but it's just one of those tragic things that we just wish never happens to anybody else. But then also that is also what drives us to do what we're doing, the podcast, and then being able to partner with you and have you on to be able to share what it is that you guys do. So with that, I want to turn it over to you, Allie and Rene, and you can let us know who you are and what it is that you do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us. Like I said, it's an honor for us to be here on your podcast. My name is Allie Levi. I am a forensic interview specialist with Homeland Security Investigations. I've been in the field of child abuse and exploitation since 1998. So I've been around for a little bit. Most of my work has been in the investigative side of child abuse and exploitation. I started out at the Chicago Children's Advocacy Center. I was the manager of forensic interviewing and interpreting services. I am bicultural and bilingual. My family comes from Argentina. And then I came to Homeland Security 16 years ago to start the forensic interviewing program, which HSI did not have at the time. I was so excited. I brought all my knowledge and skills from the child advocacy world and brought it to Homeland Security, where it's had a wonderful home for 16 years. A program that started with just me is now really strong. We've got a forensic interviewer in at least every one of our 30 major offices across the country, and we travel internationally as well. I have my background is in social work and forensic psychology, and working with victims and families and survivors is my passion. Seeing the resiliency, seeing the effort, seeing the trauma, and being able to work through that with people is just, there's no words for it. So now for this year, I'm with this Know to Protect campaign, which is so exciting because I get to be on a different side of it. I get to use my subject matter expertise in the prevention world, on the prevention awareness and education side of it all, which is so great. And that's kind of what led us to you. So it's even better because now we have this wonderful working relationship with your foundation as well. Rene, why don't you introduce yourself? I'm sure we'll be putting some more of ourselves into the conversation as we go on. But Rene, go ahead.
Perfect. So, hey everyone, I am Rene Young, and just like Allie, I'm a forensic interview specialist with Homeland Security. I have been with the agency for about 6 years. And prior to that, I was actually in law enforcement. I was a police officer for 14 years in Burlington, Vermont. I worked with the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, and I did a lot of the outreach for that ICAC task force. So I was in the schools, I was at the special interest groups, and I was doing some of the prevention stuff because I was on the other side of investigations and seeing such the big need for things. And there was always an electronics component to every investigation. Even if we go beyond exploitation, there's electronics that touches everything in the criminal justice field. So I've always had a passion for working these. My last 7 years on, I worked special victims unit, working all crimes sexual in nature, child and infant major abuse, as well as homicide, and internet crimes against children. So again, I'm seeing all the need for this. I'm seeing the need to spread the good word so we can fight the good fight. And it's starting, not only on the reactive side, we need to be proactive because we cannot arrest our way out of these types of crimes. We need to get a jump on it and be able to educate people prior to them happening. So I came on to Homeland Security. I always like to joke about Allie kidnapping me. She was actually giving a training in Boston for forensic interviews with child sex trafficking cases. So we bonded, and she mentioned some positions that could potentially open. And it would be neat because I had the dual lens of being a forensic interviewer as well as law enforcement. And I was just thinking it was talk. And before you know it, a little email popped up in my box. And here I am 6 years later. And I was brought on as well at the infancy stages of the campaign with Allie as subject matter experts to make sure that our language was victim-centered, trauma-informed, that we were developmentally appropriate because everybody learns differently. We're not going to speak to adults the same way we're speaking to someone who's 11, or we're not going to speak to a 16-year-old the same way that we're speaking to an 11-year-old. So we helped with a lot of the shaping with that. And we're also in the field often, so we can help with the trends. And that's a great thing. We'll get into it later with making sure that the materials that we provide are on par and staying current with everything we see going out there. So again, your intro was so moving, and we are honored to be here and be part of it and support your foundation. And we are excited for this conversation.
Thank you. I'll pull your, I pulled everything down because I wanted everybody to see us conversing and everything, but I'll pull your slide deck back up now.
Oh, okay.
But we had of course talked beforehand, but it's still good. I think every time you hear just a little bit more about an individual and about kind of your work and your background, and just want to thank Allie and Rene for being here and being able to share what it is that you guys do.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mia.
I was saying thank you for taking up on the invitation to come on to the podcast and present the Know to Protect campaign. So thank you.
It was an honor for us to be asked. So we're so happy to be here.
Absolutely.
So we'll turn it over to you guys.
Yeah. So as Rene and I said, we are with the Know to Protect campaign. We believe that together we can stop online child exploitation. That's why we're here. That's why we exist. That's why and how we were able to partner and work with the Matthew Minor Awareness Foundation, because it takes everyone to bring awareness, to raise awareness to this issue. It takes everyone working together in order to stop these heinous crimes from happening. I'm going to try to switch my screen right now. There we go. Let's see. There we go. So what makes the Know to Protect campaign unique from other type of awareness campaigns is that we sit and we're housed at the DHS Cybercrime Center, what we call C3, okay? And the Know to Protect campaign, because it's housed in that cyber center, we work directly with Homeland Security Investigations, which is the investigative arm of DHS. So when we're working and bringing awareness and we get some information with regard to a potential case or information about someone's victimization, we're the agency that's then going to go and investigate. So we don't have to then pass the information and the knowledge to another agency. So we're kind of unique in that. There's not very many awareness campaigns that have that ability to do it. There's a lot of phenomenal foundations, phenomenal agencies that work to protect children and families all day long, and we're able to take it one step further and pursue the investigations through Homeland Security. And so the agents that we work with, they are working day in and day out, finding these online predators, finding who they are, recovering and rescuing victims, and they want to bring them to justice. We work as forensic interview specialists as a team with our victim assistance specialists as well. And everything that we do at Homeland Security is really driven in a trauma-informed and victim-centered approach. So we're working with victims and survivors and families in a way that's true to them and keeping them at that center of that investigation to make sure that what we're doing is helping them as well as pursuing justice and trying to put the people who are committing these heinous crimes away. And like Rene said, yeah, we are an investigative agency, but we can't arrest our way out of this crime. We have to have other means to do that, and awareness is what we believe is how to do that, and that's a great start. So this is our mission statement. Know to Protect is a Department of Homeland Security National Public Awareness Campaign. And what we do is we aim to educate and empower not just children and teens, but the parents and the trusted adults and even the policymakers to prevent and combat online CSEA or online child sexual exploitation and abuse. We want to make sure that people know how to report. We want to know what to do if someone encounters a victim or knows of some type of victimization happening, where to go, what to do with that information. And we also want to offer responses and support to those victims and survivors of online child exploitation and abuse to ensure that they know that they are supported, that there is hope, there is that light at the end of the tunnel. And maybe a horrible thing has happened, but it doesn't have to end there. We can be there and we can all work together to stop this from happening again to them and or to anyone else in their lives. With the campaign, we function under like 3 goals. Wouldn't you say? I mean, the 3 pillars, right, Rene, that we work with, and we do this through messaging, through our social media, through our website, and through other communication platforms. This podcast, for example, that's what we're doing here. Is we're messaging, or this is our key messaging. So it's education, prevention, and intervention. And by educating, what we're saying is we seek to educate the community, all the people that are out there. So both adults and children and trusted adults, educators, whomever, so that we can educate them and they can learn to help themselves and to others about the heinous and horrible crimes of online child exploitation and abuse. Through prevention, we want to make sure we're providing the resources and the tools so that those who are learning and getting the education know how to protect themselves and how to protect others from this heinous crime as well. And we intervene by empowering the audiences that we work with to act and to report abuse, what happens after they report, supporting their survivors and victims, because we know that it takes a lot to get a victim from victim to survivor. And we know that it's not just sometimes the child, but it's the whole family who needs that support as well. And so we aim to do that. And we do that through our messaging. And we only do it through partners that we have, such as yourselves.
And Allie, I want to butt in for a second. On our page on Know to Protect, we see so many hits on the how to report or what to do next, because I think forever people have been talking about, okay, we know what the dangers are online, or we know some of them, and we know that it's not a good thing, and we know we're gonna need help, but what is the next? I feel like there hasn't been a ton of focus on the next. So I just wanted to highlight that it is good because people are searching for those answers, and we're hoping that we can deliver them on a regular and consistent basis and stay on top of those threats as they quickly evolve.
Absolutely. And you can get on our website at knowtoprotect.gov. I know that Todd was putting that bubble up, and that's just an easy resource, and it's an easy way to go in there and get as much information. We've got downloadable resources that you can print. If you can hang in an office setting, you can hang it at schools. There's lots of different things that can do there, and helpful tips both for kids and for adults. We actually have a dedicated kids page, to kids and teens page, that's from 10 years through high school, and it's for them. So kids themselves can go onto the website and learn about gaming, learning how to be safe online and how to protect themselves when they're in different social media settings and different apps and things like that. And for kids under the age of 10, we really encourage them to visit the website with their parents or with a trusted adult. So it's for everyone, but we also want to make sure that we are educating properly and respecting the rules that to take place to be able to protect yourselves and others.
Good.
So we just turned 1 year old, and on April 17th was our anniversary or our birthday. We launched a year ago on April 17th, and our big launch day was at the Big Apple. A lot of people consider it to be the capital of the world, and Rene and I have this back and forth all the time with each other that I think it should have been Chicago because I think Chicago is the capital of the world. She's from Boston. She thinks it should be Boston. Either way, it happened in New York, and we can't go back in time now, but it was phenomenal. Our launch day was huge. It was so important. It was so amazing to see this campaign that started with an idea and something just so critical to bring to the public and bring to the community was able to get launched. We launched in New York City. We were all over New York City. We were on the NASDAQ billboard in Times Square. We were on the ABC Super Scene, and we even were on the trading room floor of the New York Stock Exchange. We also lit up around the country, major buildings and iconic buildings around the country, in states all over the place. Cities lit up their buildings with their colors. You can see the colors here. We wanted to make sure that we were seen, and we have been seen, which is so exciting. And I know this year we had a great birthday launch with some really special events, and save some of that for a little bit later so we can talk a little bit more in depth on what we did. But yeah, it's so exciting. Rene mentioned, I think, that we came on pre-launch for a little short period of time to help work on content development to ensure that there was, everything was victim-centered. We were removing any victim blaming language from our materials, making sure that it was developmentally appropriate and trauma-informed when we're giving our messaging, because that's really important to Rene and I as subject matter experts. So to go from pre-launch and in development phases to come back once it's launched, it's been so exciting to see. So, yeah.
Wow. And I sorry to interrupt, but we just went to both those cities, New York and Boston. I think you said Boston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got to sample the food in both places. Both places are great. I mean, I think I think that one
Well,
thing
our son is in New York.
Oh, well, that's true. Our son is in New York, so we were able to eat with him. there and everything. But I guess I was just saying that I couldn't really decide which city
Couldn't
was
pick
in.
a favorite.
Yeah, because I mean,
Neutral, nice and neutral.
If you come to Chicago, there'll be no question. You'll know which one of the cities is superior. So you
oh, wow.
Here we go.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I served in the military, and it was the same. Everybody was all about their service. The Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard. So it's you're going to always carry that with you. But I think also the good thing with the different, just where you come from and your upbringing, that's what keeps you going. Where you're from, the culture, the environment, those kind of things. It just makes you who you are. That keeps you, helps you to be resilient and kind of keep going in the face
That's
of
right.
all kinds
Your
of adversity.
backbone. That's your backbone.
Yeah.
And like the armed forces, you each have your own, but in the end, everyone's coming together for the same fight to protect the liberties of the people and to make sure that we are able to live in a country that's free. And with this campaign, all the cities across the nation came together for one goal, is to make sure that we're bringing awareness to such an important thing. So, I mean, coming around full circle here. So, absolutely.
No, I like it. Yeah, we're one team, all working together.
Yeah. Together we can stop online child exploitation.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a big number right there, 36 million.
Yeah.
And congratulations on the launch. It looked wonderful.
Thank you so much. I kind of mentioned that we do messaging, and we talked about how we do, the social media. So we're on Facebook and X and all that, and on Snap, and we're here with you doing a podcast. But we also have public service announcements, and we're really proud of them. We have a 90-second, we have a 60-second, we have a 30-second and a 15-second, and we're working on a few more currently. But we're especially proud of the 90-second one. That's the one that's listed here. In 2024, we were a finalist for the Cannes Corporate Media and TV Award based off of this 90-second PSA. And what's really cool and exciting about it is we were a few months young when this happened. And so in a short matter of time, I want to say when we were nominated, we had 6.8 million views of that one PSA. Now the numbers are through the roof. But it just shows that there's people out there who are hungry for this information. I'm sure you guys find that with your foundation too, like with the awareness stuff, that people are craving the information. Sometimes it starts because of a tragedy or a trauma, but other people really want to do what's best and help others. And so I think that's pretty cool that we're able to get out there and be seen. So I would recommend, and if you want to see all of our PSAs are on our DHS YouTube channel, and there you'll find all the PSAs. We also have a digital safety series, and on that digital safety series, there's snippets. There are 5 snippets that are about 90 seconds long each, and there are 5 topics that are the most frequently asked about. So like how to report, what happens if this happens to you? What's the difference between sexting and sextortion? Data permanency. And for all of you who aren't sure what that is, data permanency is once you put your stuff out there, it's out there on the internet and we can't take it down. But how exciting that just this week, the president and the first lady signed into law the Take It Down Act. And that's really, really exciting, and the advancements that we're able to do. Now, does that mean that things can be taken down and taken off forever? No, but it means we're helping in the fight of starting to bring things down. And so bringing that awareness. We were also nominated or given the award of the most effective government campaign for combating child exploitation by Homeland Security today. So I'm not trying to toot our horn, but I am tooting our horn because it's exciting. It's, we're getting out there, we're doing things that are so different and important, and this message has to get out one way or another, and DHS has really taken it upon themselves to do whatever we can to be able to do that.
Wow, that's so good. Wonderful accomplishment. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying that is that is some good accomplishments, and the Take It Down Act did pass was like 4-9 to 2 or 4-9 to 1. So it was like a big unanimous.
Yeah.
I hope we
And it's not political, right? Like that just shows it. You know, this is something that happens to everyone, everywhere. There are senators' children who have been affected by online child exploitation and abuse, who they themselves have started laws in their own states to be able to combat this at a smaller level. And so bringing this at the federal level and what you guys were doing, and you guys are campaigning for safety online as well. I mean, that is really where it comes down to. We have to bring it to the national level and get everybody to be able to see it. One city at a time, one agency at a time, one foundation together at a time, but together we can do this. And together we can do that fight.
That's so great.
Yeah. So we've been teaching for over a year now, on what you need to know to keep yourself safe online. What can you do to protect yourself as a child, as a teen, as a parent, to protect their children? And now for back to school time, we're going to be launching what we call the Pledge to Protect. It's a nationwide call to action. And what we're saying is we're going to pivot for a little while from awareness to action. And so we've given you the tools, we've given you the resources, we've given you the education and the knowledge to be able to do these things. Now we're saying, let's pledge to do it. Let's actually take that pledge in August to say, I'm going to keep myself safe online. I'm going to protect my friends online. I'm going to do what I can as a parent, as a trusted adult, as a coach, as a church leader, as a member of the PTA, to be able to do this, pledge to do it, and then I'm going to pass that pledge. And so the way it will look is there'll be you'll go onto the Know to Protect webpage, and there'll be a page specifically dedicated to Pledge to Protect. And there's going to be another PSA that we're working on with regard to Pledge to Protect. And then you will choose if you're a trusted adult or you're a parent, if you're a teen or if you're a kid. And it'll give you the age ranges. And let's say you're a teen and you go onto that website. It'll take you to a separate page. You'll click on it as a teen, and it'll take you to a separate page. And on that page, the teens will be able to look at resources that are specifically geared towards them and their age range and what they're doing online. And then they're going to be able to take that information and then decide to take the pledge, and then they'll click and they'll be able to pass the pledge. And what do we mean by pass the pledge? We mean getting on a podcast like this and telling people about it. We mean sitting at the lunchroom table at school and talking about the fact that they took the pledge. It means sitting at your book club when you're reading a book with your friends and saying, hey, by the way, have you guys taken the pledge? We should really get online and do this. That's what we mean by passing the pledge. Rene, I think you want to say something there.
And I was going to say, I'm one that always likes a little friendly competition. So I was thinking back to my days of being on the Special Victims Unit. Maybe my county's Special Victims Unit, we're going to challenge the other Special Victims Units or the other Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force or any other special interest group and say, how many can get the most people to take this pledge and how many people can you pass it to? Because who doesn't like a friendly competition?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so fun. And even with the kids' sports teams, like which one of this group of this soccer league is going to have the team that does it the most? Like fun stuff, getting the kids' engagement and the parents' engagement. And we think, honestly, this is a global movement. We can pass this pledge and it can go global. And everyone around the world will be obtaining this information, taking the pledge and passing it. And we're so excited about this. This is our sub-campaign, our call to action. That's going to be right at the time of back to school. So right as kids are going back to school. Yeah. And you'll get more information soon coming up in the summer months.
Okay. That's really nice.
So I want to give some time to Rene to talk, but I do want to talk about this slide real quick. And this is really important. And when I first saw this slide and heard about this case, for me, it was a motivation. For me, this served as a motivation. And I don't think this father even knew what it means to be for me to be able to read his quote. So this is a quote from a father, Brian Montgomery. He's the father of Walker Montgomery. Walker Montgomery died by death by suicide after falling victim to a extortion scheme on Instagram. And this quote, I see this as a fight. I see it as a war. There's a war in our kids. We have no other defense other than awareness right now. And that's why we're here. That's why your foundation exists. That's why Know to Protect exists. We need to bring awareness to this issue. It happens to everyone, it happens everywhere. It doesn't discriminate. So for those of you who are not familiar, I'll tell you a little bit about just a few sentences, but Walker Montgomery was a 16-year-old sophomore in high school, just got his driver's license, had gone hunting with his father on November 30th, came home, worked out at the family barn, sat down for a family meal with his family that night, prayed with his mother before going to sleep at night, and at some point after midnight on December 1st, he died by suicide after being financially extorted by a group that threatened to spread his pictures all over the internet and to everyone he knew if he didn't send more money. And unfortunately, Walker didn't see an out. We want to let kids know everywhere that there is an out. Financial extortion is rampant. What used to be believed that sextortion was a crime against girls, it's not. It's a crime against girls. It's a crime against boys. It's a crime against young kids. It's a crime against teenagers. Financial sextortion actually hits more boys than it does girls between the ages of 13 and 17. And if you don't bring awareness, this is where the problem happens, and we do that by having amazing foundations like yours allowing us to speak here. We do that by bringing awareness, and we do that by educating. And I'll let Rene talk for a little bit because I feel like I'm hogging the show. But maybe Rene will talk more about kind of how we do go about doing education and sharing this information with people. Did you want to say something, Mia? I think you're on mute still.
Hold on. Mia, you're muted.
I believe they in Parents SOS with us.
We know the Montgomerys and everything.
Yeah.
That's why I was kind of holding back from saying anything, but great family. Go ahead, Mia. What were you going to say?
I was just saying, it's just that it's just sad, to see how the.
Well, it
looks like it might have froze.
Yeah. They froze, but we didn't.
I think I'll just give it a minute. I mean, it shows that it's recording too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll probably jump back on.
I think maybe I dropped. I'm not quite sure. Did we drop? Is that what happened here?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Are you back on, Mia?
Oh, I'm not hearing anything.
You can't hear me?
Oh, I can
Now
hear.
I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, sorry.
Back in business. No, don't be sorry.
Yeah, we have storm going over our heads, so I think that probably did something. Yeah, but I think we were talking about the Montgomerys, just great family. They hard, just hard workers and advocating for all lives.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that you guys were going to bring them up, but we do know them. So thank you.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that quote, it gives me goosebumps from Mr. Montgomery. Every time, that we talk about it in a presentation or when we're talking about the campaign and, the things that move us, I get goosebumps, whether I'm reading it silently or somebody's saying it out loud. It definitely has a strong effect on us.
And I think it's important to mention these families, mention these children, and keeping their memories alive by talking about what happened, I think is one of the most important parts of the awareness. Because if not, people don't think it happens. People think, oh, that just happened somewhere else. But it happens in our communities, and it's part of our job to remember everyone and to acknowledge them and keep them alive through these conversations. And that's why we do that for your son as well. Remembering him and acknowledging him and his life is, I think, just so critical. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I think one thing that also drew us to you guys was just that it's you're taking action, like we are, like the Montgomerys and other families. We're out there, we're speaking in the community and things, and everything that you're doing lines up with what we're doing, except for the fact that you guys, are, work for the government and that kind of thing. But I think that also helps too, because it shows, how big of a issue and problem and challenge this is. So
Right.
definitely encouraged by you guys' mission and just, it aligns with what we're doing.
Thank you so much.
It definitely takes a team. So Allie, if you want to go ahead. So we're going to move into the Project iGuardian and some of the real proactive and preventative and interactive measures that we're taking with the Know to Protect campaign. And Project iGuardian is all about community engagement and public education. These are in person. I mean, we can do them virtual as well, but I always love the value of a face-to-face conversation. We're having great conversation right now, but being able to be in the same room and really feeling the power is just so moving. So we get out there. There is no audience too big. There is no audience too small. We will come and we will meet people where they are at. We have agents, obviously, all around the country. So if there's a request that comes into us for a presentation, we match it up with one of our agents or one of our other employees that is trained to give these iGuardian presentations. And they will come to where the people are at and they'll give these presentations. I know at the beginning, we talked briefly about tailoring our presentations and our information to audiences. So just like the content on our website is developmentally appropriate and set to each audience, so are these presentations. We have the parents and trusted adult presentations, we have teens, and we have tweens. So we are ready to speak to all of these different audiences. And I think it just there. Allie hopped ahead to our presentations. I was like, there goes those slides. So this is just kind of a breakdown of the groups that we are able to speak to. And when we do our presentations, we really pride ourselves in engagement. We want to engage the audience. We're not coming in there as experts to talk at people. We are there as a member of their community, because we talked about it earlier. This is not just a Lifetime movie. These crimes do not discriminate. They are in all of our backyards, and it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, your socioeconomic status, anything. These crimes do not discriminate. They are everywhere. So we are everywhere, and we want to be there, and we want to be with our communities, and we want to engage with them appropriately to spread this word. But also another thing with having staff from the different areas of the country that's trained up on these, we're going to use local case examples. So again, it drives that point home that I just talked about. This is happening everywhere. So by sharing local case examples, adjudicated case examples that we obviously keep certain details private, make sure everything's done appropriately, we share those to show, hey, this is some of the stuff that's happening. And maybe somebody knows about that. Maybe somebody has no clue that stuff's happening, but we want to be able to educate and inform that we are seeing this everywhere. Allie, I don't
Yeah,
know. Oh, go ahead.
even our presenters are from those communities too. So they can be your neighbor. They can live down the street from you. So they know that, what's happening around in your community. It's not, I mean, yes, are there times that we send someone from New York to do a presentation in LA? Absolutely. But we don't do that on the regular. We want someone from Baton Rouge to be presenting to the people in Baton Rouge. We want people in Skokie, Illinois to get what's happening in Skokie, Illinois. And that way, people, the message gets there. And it just occurred to me, Rene, if you can talk about this. We're talking about the special agents that go out there and do these trainings, and they're specially trained to do this. But we also train our forensic interviewers like Rene and I, as well as our victim assistance specialists to do these trainings. But we're talking about forensic interview specialists, and I'm not sure if everyone knows what that is.
Yeah. I'm happy to touch on that. So when we say the words forensic interview specialist, which we should have probably hit on this at the beginning, because some people are like, oh, forensics, are they doing phone things? And no, you don't want me downloading your electronics, because it might be a whole mess. But a forensic interview specialist, in the most simple form, we are trained professionals that speak to people. We get to speak to people and listen to people, and we get to get their story in an open, comfortable setting where we're letting them do the narrative. It is not leading. It is sound and admissible in court. We let them narrate their story from beginning to end. And Allie and I, even though I have a history of law enforcement, we're not law enforcement. That is our specific job. So when I introduce myself to someone that I'm speaking to, that's often one of the first things I lay down. Like, I'm not a police officer. I'm not a special agent. I'm not CPS or DCF. It's purely my job to check in with you today and to hear your story. So we set very open-ended framework, and we let them fill in the story with their details and tell the story in their words. And that's the most important. We want to do everything in a victim-centered fashion. We want to honor them, and we want them to be able to tell us everything, because these are some of the most egregious, terrible things that can happen that we're often speaking to people about. We want them to do it at their comfort level and in a supported environment. We also do these conversations. We're not in an interrogation room, and we're not shining a flashlight on somebody and saying, like, tell me your story. We're doing it in a comfortable kind of homey environment, often at child advocacy centers. But in our Homeland Security offices, many of us have soft rooms, we call them. So it's comfortable. Our lighting is right. Our decor is friendly. It's welcoming. It's not so institutional and sterile. So again, we're honoring them, and we're making sure they're comfortable. It's also at their speed. We are not at a deadline with who we speak to and serve as forensic interview specialists. We want them to be comfortable, and they call the shots. I always tell people, you're the driver of this bus. Do you want to pump the brakes? Do you want to hit the gas? I'm here for you. So let's do these things at your speed, because at the end, we always want to honor who we're speaking to.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Renee.
No, good call out. I know we should define our position, because it can be funny with the word forensic.
It's a little different, right? Like, not most people know what it is. So
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, because I didn't know either. I just was like, okay.
yeah.
Very good. So these are our characters. So we are hoping and aiming, we had a conversation yesterday, and the director of our campaign, Kate Kennedy, she had said it in an awesome way. We want to be iconic, like think you're Smokey the Bear and McGruff, the dog. We at Know to Protect, we want our characters to be that iconic and say, okay, Smokey, okay, McGruff, you guys can hang it up. We got it from here. But we have created these almost Marvel-like characters that help us bring the message, again, catering to our audiences, because both adults and minors, they can relate with these types of characters. And we have our special agents, again, like we're kind of humanizing, and we're not just these imposing authority figures. We're really making them friendly and approachable. And these are some of the people that are going out to the schools. We have Mojo, the adorable electronic sniffing canine, and he actually came from my former ICAC task force. He's retired now, but we used his likeness because who doesn't like a big goofy yellow lab?
Or blue lab in this case.
You what?
Or blue lab in this case.
Or a blue lab. Yeah, he's blue for a campaign, but he's a big goofy lab.
Hey, Mojo. That's nice.
Mojo. And what a name, right? Then we have Mr. Emmett. So he is like our guidance counselor in the schools. Again, another trusted adult in many kids' lives, because sometimes school is their safe space. Unfortunately, we often deal with kids at home isn't a safe space, but there is other trusted adults. So, you know, maybe it's those agents coming out to do presentations. Maybe it's the school resource officer. Maybe it is the Mr. Emmets of the world out there, but just that person that they can trust and look up to, and then they can give them all their heaviness, right? And then we have Penny Peace. And Penny Peace is a peer. She is another minor. She is, you know, another student in the school, and she is the good friend, the good listener, maybe giving good advice, maybe helping them say, hey, we need to come forward with this. We can get help. You're not going to be in trouble. Because again, we are out there, we're trying to pass this on. So maybe giving this presentation to students could help them intervene and get involved in one of their friends' situations and help them bring forward what's going on and get out of this exploitation type situation.
Do you have, I was going to ask, with the iGuardian characters, do you have them come in as an interactive team, like, you know, characters, you know, showing who they are, like, you
it's
know?
funny you say that, because one of our teams out of our DC office, they actually dress up as the characters. And when they go do these iGuardian presentations, and everyone kind of has it. We do have like cutout characters that we bring, and like we have a cutout of Mojo with like a hole in his face, so you can put your face in and take your selfie with it for the kids, and we do that kind of thing. Yeah, so with we have trading cards of the characters that are really popular for the kids, and different things like that.
That's good, because we did reach out to Dr. Adams, Miss Adams, and the principal of Aki Academy, and so see if, you know.
So more to follow on that.
More to follow on that,
Yeah. Excellent. Allie, if you want to proceed one, because we already hit these types. All right. So as we were saying in the beginning, internet crimes against children, internet exploitation, everything that's going on online is so quickly evolving. There's always changes. You know, I think back to when I was in the schools as a resource officer, cyberbullying, big buzzword, but then we're talking sexting, we're talking sextortion, financial sextortion. I know we're going to hit more on the trends. I'll give a little sneak peek into maybe the next episode we're all going to do together. Those things are so quickly evolving that we want to stay on top of it, and we want to make sure the content that we're delivering is on top of things, because, you know, teens, young people, they'll be the first ones to call you out if you're outdated. So we want to stay on top of the trends. Like, we want to stay with the interest. So we're constantly working. And when we say subject matter experts, it's people like forensic interviewers like Allie and I, it's special agents. All of us sit on an editorial team, and we come up with that new content. Like, what are you seeing in your day-to-day work? What have you seen? What's happening on that side of the country? And usually the trends are the same across the country, but they are always evolving, and they evolve swiftly.
Right. We have a bill that just came out that we talked about the AI, because it's such a concern, and how it's just evolving so quickly. Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
And it's scary because it's so realistic. So I hope to hit more on that maybe the next time, but we'll have a lot. But it's insane, you know, like it's almost like we want to say be skeptical of everything, because unless you know them face to face, you don't know. You don't know. On this slide, we just have some of the pictures of the outreach. So you can see some of those cardboard cutouts of our iGuardian characters. With our crew, there was a big symposium in Puerto Rico, which had an amazingly large attendance. And, so many different people showing up. But when I say there's no audience too small or no audience too big, I truly mean it. We would be happy to show up and just speak to a couple people, because maybe those couple people will spread it to a couple more,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth from there. But in the big auditorium type things too, again, it's a success. We're trying to reach as many people as we can and build awareness.
And when we say we go global, we mean it. I mean, the pictures on the right-hand side are from iGuardian presentations happening in schools in Medellin, Colombia. We just recently were contacted by Honduras National Police. They want us to come and do trainings for them. We work with Guatemala. We work with countries all over the globe, and we just got also asked to go to help do trainings in Sri Lanka. This is something that affects everyone around the globe, and the iGuardians can be there regardless of what country you live in and what language you speak and all that kind of stuff. We are doing them in Spanish as well at this point. I don't believe we're doing them in any other languages. And we also have our content on our website in Spanish too. So all of our resources are put into Spanish for the Spanish-speaking communities.
Wow. This is so great. Wow.
Very good.
So again, those were just little snippets of iGuardian. So I'm going to move on from there. Now I want to talk about some impact. We read the impact on the father when we were talking a little bit earlier, the Montgomerys, but some of the impacts that these iGuardian presentations are making are so moving to me. And I'm just going to read one out loud just for, the power it delivers. And it's a horrifying topic, but absolutely necessary to learn more. I believe this should be standard for all parents and their children growing up in the digital age. And then as a parent, it hits home. My kids are younger, but they are on the brink of utilizing the internet more and more. So I'm glad I got this information in time. I'm hoping this is getting to schools as it's so important. And, that's a major goal of ours. We would love to be in all of the schools. We would love to see this as curriculum. We would love to push forward with this, because I don't think you can start soon enough. Allie and I talk with our team on a regular basis. We would love to see this get to younger and younger and younger audiences, because in our field work, that's what we're seeing. We're talking to 5-year-olds, we're talking to 4-year-olds. And, there's been studies in kids between the ages of 8 and 0, and the percentages of the children that have access to a device or know how to use devices at such a young age is astounding.
I was just telling you the other day, my cousins were in town, and my cousin was telling me that her granddaughter was just under 2 years of age, already knows how to work the screen of the iPad to get what she wants to see next. Wow. She's not even 2 years old.
Wow.
And no, she can't read, but she can hear and she can see. And the dangers are not just, not the written word. They're spoken, they're listened to, and there's graphics. So, 0 to 8, it's a real study and it's real truths. And it's, start young. We want to educate as young as possible.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. And I know we've all seen families at dinner and people just handing that piece of electronics to the baby at the table to keep them quiet. And there's a lot behind that too, not having to rely on a piece of electronics to soothe yourself, and, doing that, and the dependency. And, we can talk about it at a later time, like the addiction to social media and digital products. It's again, very, very intensely real. So speaking of impact, I want to talk a little bit about Project iGuardian's impact, and, kind of just give an overview of that. So let's look at 2024. I'm going to fast forward right to the end, the last two numbers, 77 investigative leads. So investigative leads, That is when somebody provides information that an agent could follow up on then thereafter. Okay. So they're hearing about something, they're going to have to look into it. And again, this is why we're doing what we do, because this could be somebody's first access to somebody in the field, whether it's a forensic interviewer or an advocate or an agent, anything, any of our employees that are giving these presentations. Maybe this is the first time they have access to us. And now they say, wow, they've done a really great job creating this environment that they can trust us and come forward. So again, when I say we're not talking at people, we're having a conversation with the people. This is our community, and we have pride in our communities. So we're creating that atmosphere that lets them come forward and disclose what next. So speaking of disclosures, there were 75 disclosures of victims. So that's when somebody's actually coming up and saying X, Y, and Z happened to me. So they are trusting the person that was giving their presentation with this very serious information. We're going to drop down to 2025. So this is just starting in the past October, and this data gets up to April 30th. So I'm sure it's way even higher. We are already at 19 investigative leads and only 10 less than the fiscal year 24. We have 65 victim disclosures, which is astonishing. And I'm sure we're going to have so many more by the end of the fiscal year. And Mia, you look like you wanted to say something.
No. I was just looking at the numbers, but I was saying that. So when you go do a presentation and someone comes to you with a lead, do you go out or to investigate it, or you send it out to someone within the?
So the agents would go out, like Allie and I don't do the actual investigations. We would do the victim, survivor, witness interviews in those types of investigations. But either say they have a special agent presenting that day, it could be them or it could be somebody else from the local office, or maybe the crime has occurred somewhere else. So it's going to go to the respective. But that's why, we all work as a team. We're passing that information along, and they, we have a special way of sending things around. But that's why it's so important that we are interactive, that we are engaging. Something I love to do when I go out and present is I'll give whoever's facilitating the heads up, because sometimes it's awkward, no matter if you're a teen, a child, or an adult, to be that first one to raise your hand. I always say, ask them if they have any questions, and they can go ahead and forward it to you. And then you can send it to me anonymously. I don't know who wrote the question, and I'll address it at the end in the presentation. So again, we're honoring the people. Again, they can say, oh wow, this lady is really taking serious that I had sent this question, and now she's doing it. But we're doing it in an anonymous way, that they're not singled out raising their hand. So maybe they might be in that line of people, because I can tell you, every time I give any type of internet safety presentation, there is a line of people. There is adults, there is young people, there's everybody in that line, because we work really hard to create that trusting, comfortable environment that they can approach us and we can work forward to get things better.
And we want to let them know that they're being heard, and we're there to hear them and listen to them. So yes, Mia, like if someone provides this information at the end of a presentation, that information will get into the correct hands and it will be looked into. Does every information lead to an investigation? No. Sometimes information, doesn't, there's not going to be a criminal charge because you shared with me some information, but it's going to get looked into, and it's going to get what it deserves. So for that person to feel safe enough to come to us, we want to let them know we're looking into this and we take it seriously.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good information. And then you
Oh no, I think go ahead.
No, you're good.
No. And then I'm saying, then you could provide the number of, for, if anyone needs it.
Yes, for sure. We will put our website. We will get that information. We have a QR code at the end that people can scan, so they know where to contact us and what to do if they want to report as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So moving on, as part of our campaign, we also have influencers who might be sports figures, public figures, musicians. So, I was very excited about this one, as was Allie, John Rich. He is a country music star. He actually is one of our influencers, and he's an amazing man. He actually came to us after his wife and his teen son attended a presentation, and they said, okay, you really need to get involved with these people because the message is strong, it's moving, and it's something that we all need to get behind. So he reached out, and we set something up where somebody out of our Nashville office, one of our agents, Dennis Fedding, who has for a long time and continually gives these presentations, he's amazing at it. He was invited to meet with Mr. Rich, and they did kind of a hybrid iGuardian presentation, but they structured it in a way that it was like two dads talking. It was conversational, but they took our presentation and did it that way. So it flowed, and it was live streamed on Mr. Rich's X account. And as you can see, it has made 4.2 million impressions, and there's been 2.9 million live stream views. We've had all those post replies and reposts. So it's just been so amazing. And while he streamed it on his, our president also streamed it on his X account. President Trump had it on there. And then Secretary Noem, she did a foreword. She came on and, did a nice intro for this presentation. So it's amazing to see the people in these powerful positions coming up, because it is bipartisan. Everyone can get behind it. These crimes don't discriminate. Like I said, no matter where you're from, what your socioeconomic status is, crimes do not discriminate. So it's something we need to all get together and support. And the amount of engagement just from an event like this was so motivating for us and so moving. Allie and I were there watching it live, and just the goosebumps I was feeling, and the power. We're like, yes, here we are.
It was really, really a cool event. And if you want to watch it, you could watch it. You could go onto our notoprotect.gov website, and it's there. You could watch the recorded version of the live stream. It was pretty cool. So, awesome. Check it out. Check it out for sure. One thing we haven't mentioned yet, and I don't know that we have a slide for it, but we mentioned our Pledge to Protect our sub-campaign that's coming up for back to school, and it's our call to action. But right now we're entering the summer months where kids are not in school, and they have a lot more free time. They have a lot more time on their hands, which means they are going to be in front of devices a lot more often than they might be during the school year. So what we have is our Digital Boundary Series over the summer. And it's for June and July. We start off our Internet Safety Month that starts next month. And we basically provide information both to parents and trusted adults, but to kids and teens to help them figure out what to do with their time other than being on devices. But if they're going to be on their devices, what they need to remember about keeping safe, because they're going to be less monitored on a regular basis. And, when we have so much time on our hands, sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we forget what we've learned. And so our Digital Boundary Series really helps remind our kids, remind our parents about going on there and doing the parental controls, going on there and doing different things to keep your kids safe and to protect them. For the kids themselves, if they're going to be playing more games and things like that, remember that it's also summertime. Get outside and play sports. And for parents, engage with your kids. If they're going to be online, play games with them. Go out there. Maybe you can take them out and go to the soccer field and play some soccer or kick some hoops, whatever it is that you guys can do together. But it's a really good time for people to come to Know to Protect and check out our resources for that, because it's really specific for when they're not in school. And we don't want to forget that dangers still happen during the summertime.
Wow. Just don't know what to say. It's a lot. I mean, you guys are doing so much, and I'm just feeling thankful and appreciative that you guys are
providing the resources and tools to be able to protect the kids going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're honored that you're uplifting our message and that we can collaborate together, because it does take everybody from everywhere to work together. So having opportunities like this for all of us to raise awareness together is so important, because it does take a team. It can't be an individual.
Yeah. And you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on X. You can find us on Instagram. As you know, on all three. We're at Know to Protect. And if you want to email us, feel free to reach out at knowtoprotect@hsi.dhs.gov, where you can scan the barcode. And that'll also take you to visit our knowtoprotect.gov website. Also, don't forget about our DHS YouTube channel, where we have our PSAs and our digital safety series on there. All you can find that on our knowtoprotect.gov website too. But we're out there. We want to hear from you, and we want to be a part of the safety that you guys do to keep yourself safe and your family safe every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also request the iGuardian presentations. We have information on our site. So if you're looking to bring us to your community, and like I said, there's no audience too big, there's no audience too small, reach out and we'll get something set up. We're more than happy, and we would be honored to come to you and spread the word.
Wow. Yeah. I guess we could go. I think we have a couple questions. Nia, did you have questions, or do you want me to kick it off?
I just had one question. First of all, thank you for a great presentation and about the Know to Protect, and learning how it was established and how it got started. It's good to have it, in this environment, this day and age, for our youth, because, when we were growing up, we didn't have the technology that we do now, and everything is on there, everything under the sun. And so we are working to, provide, awareness, for our children. And so therefore, one question that I wanted to ask, with doing research, do you provide any statistical information for those who do research for like one pagers, to provide to statistics or anything like that, to provide to schools and going forward? Or I know that you have it in your reports or anything like that.
Okay.
So absolutely, we do. Like I said, it takes a team. So we are constantly using other trusted organizations, different, whether it's medical, mental health, public health, other NGOs, other youth serving organizations, law enforcement. We have a team, because we can't just do it. The Know to Protect team is small and we're mighty, but it's going to take a lot more. So we're constantly looking to these other agencies and organizations, and we are plucking statistics. And when I said we keep our content fresh, we're constantly looking for the best, most trustworthy, the most recent statistics that we can supplement the content that we're building and developing, because we want to pluck from all areas.
Okay.
We don't want to just have that flow of information from one place.
Yeah, and so we have links on our to other resources as well, like to NCMEC, to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, to Thorn, who does a lot of amazing research about online devices and online crimes for kids. They have something called the No Filter, and it's research that's done with real kids in real time. We get information from just some of the research that Rene was quoting earlier about the 0 to 8 study was from the 2025 Common Sense Census. We get information from the American Pediatrics Association. We're making sure that we are using our partners, our champions, and the amazing work that other people are doing, and uplifting them, just like we're uplifting you, to be able to bring the most accurate information that's out there. We don't necessarily do the research ourselves, but we're using and utilizing research that's being done out there, making sure that we are helping spread that word and providing that knowledge base. But our downloadable resources on our website have a lot of that information in it. So when we create the Digital Boundaries series information, it's coming from that research, and we're implementing it into our stuff, giving credit where credit's due, because of course they deserve that credit. But we're sharing it with you through our resources as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I do. And one last question: what will be your online tips for our children for this summer?
I had a couple other questions.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go through a couple of these, and then we can circle back to that one if you don't mind, Mia. We'll say that one for the end if you don't mind. Let me look here. What were your challenges getting your campaign off the ground, if you don't mind sharing that?
Yeah. Well, I said that little phrase, small but mighty. So staffing, it's hard because we are constrained by budgets and, slots set aside for things. And our campaign, we just turned a year old. So we were loaned to the campaign in the beginning stages to help develop some content. And then we had to go back, and now we're back loaned again for a year. So I think just having a very small team and the breadth of these crimes and how prevalent it is and how it's everywhere, that's so big. We're so small. So that's why we have to get creative, and we have to start leaning on these other resources and getting people. But I'd say that's definitely the biggest challenge, keeping up with it and, trying to stay afloat and keep fighting that good fight and pumping the information out to our people within the agency, to, you folks out in the communities, and staying on top of it. We talked about the different personnel that give the iGuardian presentations. So they're doing that on top of their regular caseloads. We have people that are out there fighting those crimes, but then, we're spending some extra time, let's get into the communities, let's do these presentations. And it's not every single employee trained up on it. It's got to be something that you're passionate about and you want to do and get trained on it. And, it's our hope that we can continue to keep training other people within our agency to give these, and maybe someday expand to other people out in the communities, like school resource officers or stuff like that. So, staffing and numbers, that's a major thing. And time, there's not enough time in the day because, these things.
So many reports are coming in. NCMEC says that in 2014, they had 1 million reports of child exploitation. And that was a record. And in 2023, it rose to 36 million. So there's not enough people to investigate the crimes, let alone, build this campaign. And so we do rely on our partners and media relations and all that to kind of get the word out, and hope that's why we say together we can stop online child exploitation and abuse, because it takes all of us coming together to be able to do it.
You all hosting us, that's huge. This is huge for us to let us kind of use our voice and use our voices together. I think, it takes this team. We all have to work together and keep spreading it. We're passing the information, just like later we'll be passing pledges. We're just passing the good word right now.
Yeah, and I think for us, I think we found out that you guys were there, but it wasn't, we were happy to see that you were there, but like you said, everything is budget constraints, that kind of stuff. It wasn't a whole bunch of things at night and all that stuff. I think it was maybe an article or something that mentioned that you guys were there, and we were like, huh? And so thank you to Mia, because she dove in,
reached out
and stuff, and I'm so we're just so happy. But it was just finding out more, and that's where, like you said, we're glad that we have this space and this media to be able to kind of
totally our pleasure,
amplify what's going on, and then if I could go on to the next question, I want to make sure I wasn't rushing anything here, but interesting with the recent change in administration, has that had any effect on what you guys do?
No, it's like we said, what Rene said earlier, we're bipartisan. This is not political in any way, shape, or form. So the campaign launched in 2024, and began under the past administration, and now is still running strong and getting support in the new administration. So like we said, just that John Rich live event, The president shared it on his X, and the Secretary Noam came on and gave a message pre-live stream. Like, that just shows the bipartisan support that we have, and it's not political. The message is so important. You can be Republican, you can be Democrat, you can be an independent, you can be anything, but this could happen to you. And the only way we can stop it is to bring awareness to it, and I think everyone knows that. So we've been very fortunate that we've had the support of the new administration, the past administration. We hope to have support for future administrations to come, because we're not stopping. We're keeping on going.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great program.
That's good stuff. And this is one of the questions that, I mean, I know for me, it's like every day getting up and just kind of asking yourself why, and how can I help? How can I make the community better? And then just having that strength. Sometimes it's just that cup of coffee to get you going. But the question is, where do you find the strength to keep going?
Yeah.
And keep doing what you're doing?
That's a great question, Mr. Miner. And, for me, it's when I am on one of these cases and I am speaking to a survivor or a surviving family of one of these crimes and seeing weight come off their shoulders and seeing that they feel comfortable disclosing really personal, intimate, sometimes dark and scary feelings or stories, that we've created that environment, and that you can see somebody sink down in their seat, or you see their shoulders drop a little bit, or, you see right before it's going to happen and their eyes well up and they're going to tell you. That's what motivates me, because like I said, we can't arrest our way out of these. I've been on both sides, being the person that does the arrest and then the person that's purely doing the interviews. Seeing them have that comfort, or walking out of the forensic interview room or the advocacy center or our soft room at one of HSI's offices and smiling, or a kid giving me knuckles or giving me a high five, or a parent saying, "Can I hug you?" Like, that's what motivates me. That's what makes me keep going, because, we have these people, I always compare it to whack-a-mole, that at the fair, they pop up. We're going to have bad guys and bad girls that keep popping up. But if we can serve our survivors and their families and take some bit of that pain away, that's what does it for me, for sure.
And then for me, just to add on to that, knowing that you're there and that you need support makes me want to be there to give you that support. So, hearing a mother come up to me after I've conducted a forensic interview and say, my daughter came up to me and said, Allie told me that it's safe to tell about secrets, and so I told her all about mine. Having a mother come up to you afterwards and say, how did you get her to smile? She hasn't smiled in 2 years. Receiving an email from a victim who's 15 years old saying, thank you for the most amazing birthday gift you've ever given me. I'm free. I don't have to worry about this anymore. I can move forward. Knowing that there's people like you and your family who are suffering every single day, and knowing that things were taken from you that shouldn't have been. Knowing that I'm giving back choice, consent, and control to those who were removed from and ripped from. That's why we do it. And so it's one of the most rewarding jobs of my life. And I'm so proud to be able to do it, and proud to be able to be sitting and doing this podcast with the both of you, because you guys are so strong. You guys are so resilient. And you give me the strength to be able to go there and help somebody else.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, even while you were talking, I was just, we were thinking about the different individuals that, everything wasn't all in a group when we lost Matthew. Not one concerted group. Yes, our church, of course, was a great support, but in the very beginning, it was just individuals coming up to us and just that, keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and so, so I could definitely identify with what you're saying, seeing where you're making that making some headway, making some change, or affecting change in individuals' lives, but also, in the community.
Like the legislation you helped get passed, the legislation that was signed by the president this week,
Yeah.
all of them. It's from the individual victims to the legislation and lawmakers, like it's just, and then it comes around full circle.
Yeah, roots up for sure.
Yeah.
That's true. And then this kind of ties, this last question that we had, it kind of ties into what Mia was saying before, was she was starting to ask advice. What advice would you offer when communicating with parents? I mean, with parents, I guess.
Advice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question. So I'm really honest with people when they ask me this. These conversations are hard to have. They're not easy. There's conversation starters that you can think of to get the conversation going. And so transparency and openness and letting your kids know that it's okay, that you're going to love them no matter what, and that you're going to support them, that you're not going to react in the negative, even though inside it's ripping you up. But they need to know that they have a parent who's going to love them no matter what. Mm-hmm. And so we have on our resources, we have a family online contract. Mm-hmm. And why we encourage that is because a part of that family online contract is that both the parent and the kids are agreeing to certain behaviors, both online and off. And one of those things is that the parent is not going to react when the child comes and tells them something in the negative. That they still have to parent. They might not be happy that this happened, but the child needs to know that they can come to you as a trusted adult and come to you when something happens, even if they knew better, because we get this, but they knew better, In life, things happen. And we need to let the people that we love and care about know that it's going to be okay because we're still going to love them. And so that's one thing. But just make sure you have the talk, do it. As uncomfortable as it might feel at the beginning, it'll start to feel more comfortable as you do it. So that's my tidbit of advice, Rene.
Yeah, and I think nothing beats being a present parent. Be there. Like Allie said, have the talks. Don't depend on those electronic babysitters that you can put into your kids' hands, but also model your behavior. So many, and I'm guilty of it too. Like when I lay in bed at night and I'll go down the internet rabbit hole, just scrolling, like, put it down. We want them to put down the devices sometimes. Put it down yourself. Like, have those family dinners. Maybe engage in the conversations around those family dinners. Or instead of, everybody in the back seat on their phones on a car trip, start volleying back some things, some questions, some concerns. Educate yourselves, because kids don't want to be talked at. They want to talk to you. You still got a parent, but maybe have them like, tell me about like some of the things that you're hearing like online, or what is the popular things, and like let them educate you. So it's not so much a lecture-y conversation, and it's more of that volleying things, because kids can take pride. They're teaching you something, and play it up, like have a little sense of humor. Like, I'm old, I don't even know what the trend is. Like, tell up here, and then let them do that. I think that stuff can work. But being there, being present, informing yourself too first. Go on Know to Protect and read the parent resources, read what we have out there, and constantly stay on top of things, because we're telling you, we're racing to keep the content fresh, keep the content in your mind fresh too, so you're informed of what's going on out there and some of the trends.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just thinking back, because those are some of the most memorable times that I have with the kids. And Mia and I made a concerted effort to have the kids put their devices down at dinner time.
We used to lock it up.
Yeah, we definitely would do that. But then also, just remember, Mia, just real quick, and then I'll let you speak. But also, when we'd have movie night, and we'd have
night on Sunday after church.
Sometimes we'd even go after the movie. We'd create a fire and do s'mores over the over the fire pit.
You want to come over?
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was so great. So we had other stuff we were even thinking of doing. Of course, things changed, unfortunately. And then then also with our oldest son, he's he's college and lives
Oh,
on
man.
his own now. They just
Wow.
get older and grow up. That part happens, but
Careful what they gotta grow
we
up.
have memories. So that's why at least I wanted to kind of
Yeah.
amplify what you were saying as far as having those memories, because those are things you can look back on, throughout the years. Hey, I did this, we did that. And then even at times we'd go on trips, and for certain events when we were on our trips and stuff, they could pull out their phone to take pictures and things that were memorable, but no
We always
communicating
try to
with
make
anybody
activities
at
fun.
this time. Record. If you want to record or be creative that way, but work to be in the moment. I think that's what we're saying. Have those times where they're in the moment and able to share. And then we also did feedback at the end of those movies or different things. If we went to the museum, what did you learn? What were your takeaways? So that way they had, kind of, hey, I really experienced this. This wasn't an experience over the phone. I was actually here. I saw the exhibit. Let's say like we went to the out to Cherokee, North Carolina, and experienced everything and all the living exhibits and the actual living village that they had and how they made things. What were your takeaways? Because they had breakouts of what Cherokee, what clan within the tribe you would have been in. Were you're in this one or that one? And so just how did you get there? What were the takeaways? And it was fun. It was just fun to just get them to, provide some of that feedback. And
Feedback. Yeah.
sometimes also, hey, well, did you catch, they were making plates or something like that.
Right.
Did you catch that? Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. So it was fun. I look back on it fondly now. Unfortunately, especially with Matthew not here, those are memories that even when everything goes the normal route, when you live your life to the fullest extent, those are the things that your memories are what you want to take with you.
And may his
Absolutely.
memory always be a blessing for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's all I had as
Yeah.
far as questions, man. Did
That's
you have?
it. I think I appreciate your time, Ali and Renee,
Well,
for
I was
presenting. I'm sorry.
no, I
What?
just wanted to give them some final words before we
Oh,
kind of closed out, man. Just if you guys, Allie or Renee, if you had any final words before we close out.
Yeah, that number one, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your experience, for having the resilience yourselves to move forward each day and to bring awareness and enlightenment to your communities that you're part of, and getting involved with us and working together. I think that's so important, and I can't thank you enough, and I can't express my admiration for both of your strength enough. So thank you for this opportunity. And again, we are here. We are always going to be open and supportive for anyone that needs help around this. We have the resources, we have the backing, and we're ready to work with everyone in all communities to spread the word and fight to combat internet exploitation of children.
Yeah. I
thank
echo
you.
everything Renee said, and it's been an absolute honor to be with you guys tonight. And I've had the privilege to share the screen with you, and that you guys were willing and wanting to hear about what we had to say. And to you and to all the other families out there, there's help, and there's people who want to hear you, and we can help you get through things when things are tough. We could also help you get through things before they get tough. And so feel free to reach out. And thank you so much.
No, and thank you. And before Mia, I'll turn it over to Mia after. But I did want to make the point and just make all our viewers aware that this is part one of a two-part podcast series. So with this one, we kind of did overview of who you guys are and how you came about, all the background information. And then number two, we'll go a little bit more in depth on as much as you can share with the work that you do and maybe a little bit more of the specifics. So everybody stay tuned. We'll have that coming up as soon as we're able to get together for that. But I want to turn it over to Mia. I think you had a couple things that you wanted to share before we close out, Mia.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and coming and talking to us about know to protect and how to protect, about how you became a program, and it was a great learning and listening session, and we appreciate it, and we want to say good night.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.